the longest and most glamorous passenger service in Australia, snaking its way across the Nullarbor and farmland, linking three giant cities. It is the queen of Australian trains. You know its name, the famous Indian Pacific. But just because it's grand doesn't mean it's immortal. And this was the case for the Indian Pacific. In August 1999, it collided with a freight train in Xanthus. But this barely had any effect. Only a couple people were injured. But then, later on in December, true tragedy would strike. This is a tragic tale of the Glenbrook train collision. 2nd of December 1999. The Indian Pacific left for Sydney, headed to Perth. The motor rail wagons were situated at the very end of the train. It went along the main suburban line and then followed along the main western line. These lines are quite busy, having many trains before and behind the Indian Pacific. One of those behind was an intercity city rail service, W514, running on the Blue Mountains line. The train consisted of VSET EMU V21 with leading power card DIM or DIM AC67 painted in the soon-to-be obsolete blue goose livery. Behind it was another VSET, which was in a newer but still quite old State Rail Authority candy livery. Shortly after passing through Glenbrook station, the Indian Pacific comes to a stop at a red signal. They were then given authority to pass this signal, as it was a faulty one, since this line hadn't been updated in a while. They reached the next signal, also red. The driver alighted to use the line-side signal telephone to call the signaller for authority to pass the signal at danger. As a component of the phone was missing, he incorrectly believed it to be defective. The VSET behind reached the first signal and was given authority to pass it without knowing about the Indian Pacific ahead. The Interurban rounds the corner and the driver sees the Indian Pacific ahead of him. He runs towards the lower deck of the first carriage, telling the passengers to brace for impact, and then V21 slams into the back of the Indian Pacific, shrugging it to the side of the tracks while the car carrier digs into the train like a mine. 7 people died and 51 were injured. It was the worst train crash on the Blue Mountains line. Just earlier you have the Cowan train disaster killing 6, and now you have this freak accident. The 7 people who died were in the first compartment of W514, and as it slammed into the car carrier wagon at the back of the train, no one on the Indian Pacific was killed. The impact was so hard, the front 6 meters of the front vestibule was smashed into just one, while also causing the back 6 carriages of the Indian Pacific to separate from the rest of the train. A commission of inquiry, headed by Justice Peter McKerney, started an investigation into the crash. They found that the accident occurred after a power failure disabled 2 automatic signals, and due to their fail-safe design, both turned red. The signalman told the Interurban to proceed with extreme caution. However, since the signalman could not monitor where the Indian Pacific was in the block, the electric never saw the train coming. In the end, all the carriages on the Indian Pacific were either not damaged or repaired and put back into service. DIM 8067, the lead car of V21, was rebuilt by Glenbrook with a new design with different fluting and cab doors, as well as a repaint into the intercity blue and yellow paint scheme, and re-entered passenger service as DIM 8020 in V92, doing a 2-car St Mary's to Wyong service named River, before being withdrawn in 2003 and stored at Main Train Auburn with several other cars of its type. However, all of these trains at Main Train Auburn will be scrapped when the new intercity D-sets enter service in early 2020, which will replace the old V-set fleet that has been running since the start of the 1970s, which are approaching 50 years old. The Indian Pacific would derail again in 2017 in Perth, stranding passengers for 12 hours. Luckily, no one was hurt. It's been 20 years since this tragedy, and it's fair to say, with newer trains and newer equipment being deployed, it's unlikely a crash like this will happen again.